when this deal's on, you got the normal mode, and then you got illumination mode, so it'll shine that infrared beam. If you got the pistol up in there, that infrared will bounce off the back of here and it'll kind of blind you a bit, so you won't be able to do that. So when you're using a laser, you can just kind of almost hip shoot, kind of like this. Give it a good spanking.
Spanking that, huh?
Oh yeah, I like it. Howdy guys, Rex here. So in this review we're going to talk about affordable night vision. Does that stuff even work or not? And that's a question I had for kind of a long time. I was very hesitant to get into the night vision market because the technology is evolving so rapidly that I didn't feel comfortable that if I would spend a lot of money on something that it would be rendered obsolete very quickly. And there's a certain curve where the technology is progressing at such a tremendous rate, but the price, so the technology to price ratio hasn't really stabilized until kind of recently. Now there is actually some decent quality stuff on the market that you can get for a pretty affordable price, and I'm talking under 500 bucks. So this video review, we're going to do a series of night vision reviews hopefully in the future. I'd like to get into some of this more. A lot of people have a lot of questions about this stuff, especially in terms of shooting rifles and things like this. So I'd like to get into it more detail in the future. But for this first series, I want to concentrate on stuff that's affordable, because that's what most of you folks are going to probably be curious about the most, is because, you know, you're not might use it all the time, but when you do want to use it, you want to know if it's going to work. So I got a couple neat things I'll just introduce you to real quick, and then we'll get into this subject matter. This is the Armasight 4-power dedicated rifle scope here, and this is called the World War Z scope. Okay, and this is something you can get for under $400. This is mounted on a 300 blackout that I usually run suppressed. Pretty slick little rig. It has an infrared illuminator, okay, which is just shining extra light that's kind of invisible to the naked eye. You can see it a little bit when it's on max power coming out of the bulb, but it helps you see with the scope when it's in pitch black. And we'll do an actual full review on this scope, and we'll show you a whole another separate video on how to adjust it, how to set it up, how to shoot it, how to zero it. So stay tuned for more on this little optic, because this is something that's priced in a range where most folks are going to be able to actually get it. And so that's something pretty cool. But this is the first one I'm going to tell you about, and then we're going to talk about night vision monoculars that you're going to mount on your head, okay? And let me make sure I got this properly sealed up here, okay? So you got like a head unit like this you can wear, right? And then you have a mount that goes on the front, and you can turn it down, and then you have your monocular attached, okay? And this is the Armasight Spark, okay? This is actually a little bit of a magnification on here, a 3-power magnification, and I'll explain different applications in a minute, why someone might want this as opposed to a 0-power magnification or higher power, right? So there's a lot of different stuff on the market, and I want to make sure that you guys get a good overview. So this first video is going to be a review kind of just explaining the different options and how to apply the technology effectively for whatever task you're trying to do. If you're doing precision rifle fire, okay, you got to take into account that you're not going to be able to see all that far in the dark with standard technology like this unless you got moonlight without spending a lot of money, okay? There's only a certain amount of clarity and resolution you're going to have with the budget optics. However, in the dark, something like an affordable, this is a 4-power, and this is generation 1 plus. And that's actually, it's interesting how they define generations of night vision. The plus means that it's not really conventional design, so it doesn't fall under Generation 2. Although the performance might be similar to Generation 2, they use a ceramic core in some of these. This Monocular, actually, where is that thing? Monocular I just had out, that has a ceramic core, so it doesn't fall under the standard designation term, so that you can learn a certain amount of things about the generations. Generally, the higher generation you go, the better quality image you're going to get. But in a rifle scope like this is actually a half-decent way if you want a reliable, in terms of establishing a zero and keeping that zero on a rifle, so you can hit like small targets with your rifle. And I was shooting this thing out to a little bit over 100 yards with this thing, and it's pretty accurate, and we're able to zero it just like a normal rifle scope. It actually holds its zero pretty well. And so if you're running a rifle and you want a dedicated rifle optic, that's a good way to go if precision is kind of the main criteria there. However, if you want handiness or versatility, this thing is not maybe the way to go. It's pretty hefty, and it's very cumbersome, and you can't use this in the daytime either, guys. Once this bad boy's on here, this is a nighttime only, and you don't even want to remove the lens caps during the day with the unit turned on, especially. It'll fry this thing pretty quick. So this is a dedicated night vision scope, and you can take off the mounts and switch scopes if you want to. If you got another daytime optic like we got here, this is what I run on my other upper. This is the primary arms 1 to 6 with the ACSS for the 300 blackout. But basically, it's going to be more cumbersome, and it's going to be very specifically limited to the task of precision, or maybe not precision for all applications, but more precise rifle fire, okay? So a dedicated rifle scope is my recommendation for guys who want to shoot a rifle accurately. Now, if you're fighting with a rifle, let's say you just got like a soldier, right? And you don't necessarily need maximum precision, but you need versatility. You need some kind of night vision you're going to also use to just generally navigate, and also to fight with, where you're running around in the dusk, in the dark, and in the daytime. Something a lot more compact, a lot more durable, and a lot more versatile is probably the better way to go. And if you interview a lot of soldiers and guys like that, especially in the last 10, 15 years, been fighting the war on terror, a lot of that fighting happens in the nighttime, and they're going to point you in the direction of a dedicated night vision monocular type device that you're going to mount on your headgear. Okay, probably the best way to go. This is, if you don't want to wear a helmet, right, you can use this, and it straps on your head, and you can attach a monocular on there, but I would probably recommend using an actual helmet, and you can just use the lightweight helmets too. You don't even need a ballistic helmet, but something that has a mount for this, okay? And you will be able to navigate using a monocular like this, and if you have a IR laser designator on the end of your rifle, you can basically zero in your fire if you're running an M4 or whatever, and you can put that designator on the target, you sight it in just like a laser sight, and you can lay down pretty effective fire. You're not limited to the one position, and you can still maintain peripheral awareness while keeping your weapon pointed in one direction. It gives you a lot more versatility that way. For those applications, this is actually a nice way to go. The Spark has a little bit of magnification. You don't want to be walking down the stairs with this thing or something. So if you're going to be doing a lot of navigation, running around, something with magnification might not be as ideal, although it's not really all that horrible. A monocular in general is going to probably be easier on the eyes and on the brain than a pair of goggles where you have two. That can really screw up your vision, and a lot of people get very dizzy running those things. So monoculars are a lot easier to run. Most guys kind of prefer the monoculars, and that's what they've kind of gravitated towards in general. But with this, you get a designator, and you can also use, if you have a pistol with a IR designator on it. We got a TLR2 from Streamlight. Oh, sorry. And this is on a HK45. This is a Mark 23 unit here, and it's an invisible laser beam that you only see, that's only visible when you're using night vision, right? So you see your laser in the dark, and then you can shoot. So you can just hold this thing from the hip, or you can stick it around a corner, or whatever you need to do. And as long as you can kind of see what you're doing, you're free to operate the weapon however you like. Now, one of the challenges to running night vision monocular and shooting anything with open sights, or there's a lot of units like the aim points or whatever, or the EOTechs, or some of these different optics that have the glowing sights have a night vision mode in them. One of the difficulties that people don't really talk about that much is that if you're going to use open sights, for example on this pistol, right? And I was going to use this night vision monocular. It kind of sort of works in the dark. The problem is these things are very fussy on the focus sometimes, and you got to get this focused in on your target so you can see what the target is. Well, if you're focused in at the target, you totally lose focus of your sights. You don't got any kind of decent sharp sight picture. So that kind of is difficult to shoot open sights wearing a night vision monocular. And the same is true with the red dot sight. And we did that quite a bit on a few different testing excursions here, where we're running like what's the Trigicon red dot sight and some of the aim point stuff. And it's very difficult when you got the focus on the target. The dot is very, very blurry and it's hard to see what you're doing. And you also have to align your head right behind that scope. And that can be really cumbersome to do, and it's definitely not going to be something that's going to be easy to do if you're pooping yourself in a gunfight type situation. So a laser designator on your pistol or rifle will totally alleviate that deal, and you won't have to gain sight alignment or maintain. Now, you could probably focus the night vision if it focuses that closely on the sights, but then you lose focus of the target. So they're very fussy. It's not like a rifle scope where you adjust your focus any place and you can kind of see what you're shooting at. It's not. The night vision's very, very fussy with the focus, especially on the two models I was testing here. So you get a very clear image if you use the focus. So keep that in mind. I wouldn't plan on using a monocular in conjunction with using open sights or even optic that is rated for night vision. I don't think that's as effective as using an IR designator, which is a lot more high speed, low drag, a lot less sweating, and a lot less practice is needed even to operate the thing. It takes a lot of practice to get good, even just navigating around, walking around with these things on your head. And if you've been doing it for a whole tour, you get pretty good at it. But if you're not one of them guys, then it's going to be really hard to learn how to do that, right? So these things, the IR designators, you can also get them for the rifles too. Steiner makes some really nice units. IR designators, a few different outfits, but it's infrared laser. There's different classes. You can read about the classes. But in general, that's kind of the direction I'd point you towards if you're fighting with a pistol in the dark using night vision, or if you're fighting with a rifle in the dark, a semi-automatic rifle, especially in the dark, using night vision, use a laser. I think that's the best way to go. So for precision rifle fire, where you actually have to hit exactly where you're shooting, a dedicated night scope like this is going to work the best. And for fighting, where you need maximum speed, maximum versatility, and you need a weapon that's also going to work in the day and night, you can still have a scope, a normal daytime scope mounted on your rifle, for example, and then you can have a laser designator off to the side. So the same rifle is good. It's a lot more compact. The designator is not going to be as big as a dedicated night scope. Now, that being said, there's also some semi-affordable infrared on the market, and that definitely has its place. But for general combat applications, most folks you're going to talk to who are experts in the field, who do either a lot of testing or a lot of combat, are going to tell you that you really have to get in the really high dollar stuff of the forward-looking infrared, the thermal vision, if you will, before you can get quality decent enough to actually run it on a precision rifle setup for a dedicated night vision scope. A lot of hog hunters do run them, and hogs are pretty easy to identify as a hog, right? You got the basic shape. They don't got fur on them, so it's very easy to see a hog in the dark using thermal. However, that being said, when you're shooting at two-legged critters in the dark, you want to be able to clearly identify that target before you pull the trigger on it, okay? So I would still recommend, when it comes to the shooting part, to use regular light amplification or I-squared technology for the actual weapon sight, thermal is excellent for detecting targets in the dark because it's going to show you for tracking. We did a review on the Leupold LTO tracker device, a very affordable thermal imager, very, very handy. I would use that as a monocular. You can find your targets in the dark very easily. Anything that's emitting a different heat signature than its surrounding materials is going to be very easy to find. So thermal is excellent for finding targets in general, and use regular night vision for identifying those targets and then killing them. That's probably my recommendation in general when we're talking about the application of the different night vision technology. Now, there are different devices that you can put in front of your rifle scopes. A lot of guys might be curious about that. And so you can get there's a lot of different models. The PVS 22s are kind of one that guys used back in the day. There's the 27s now, which are really good. But the problem with those is that in order to get the quality needed to where when you mount it on, the mounting system, the display mechanism, and everything is of high enough quality to where it actually works and doesn't have a lot of unpredictable zero shift on your system, you're going to spend multiple thousands of dollars to get one that really works effectively. That stuff is still kind of expensive. You can buy cheaper units that you can mount in front of a daytime scope. However, you're going to have problems in getting the mounts of the quality you need and the repeatability you need in terms of not throwing you off. A lot of units, typically, even some high quality ones, stuff that cost $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, $6,000, $10,000, the ones that mount in front of your daytime scopes. If you read through the different reports that the government's done their testing and the Congress has, they've done their testifying, complaining about one optic over versus the other, and when they're deciding what they're going to buy for the military, they do a lot of testing of that stuff, and they have very good scientific write-ups on their reasoning of what's going on. But from all the reports that the guys read and all the experience the guys has had, and I've been kind of all over the place and all over the world looking at different night vision devices and stuff like this in my journeys, and only the really, really expensive stuff is to the point where I would trust it for that kind of a unit. You're going to have a lot of zero shift, typically up to even a mil in shift. So it's not going to work on a scoped rifle if precision is part of the equation that you need to have to win. So I would wait unless you can afford some of the tier 1 stuff on that. So that's just my opinion. There's a lot of stuff on the market, guys. Technology is rapidly evolving, and by the time I upload this, there could very well be a VAS device or something that works very good that you can mount in front of a rifle scope that's available for cheaper that actually works pretty good. And like we said on a video a couple times ago, one of the challenges is, especially if you're running a thermal in conjunction with a daytime rifle optic, you can get some really neat stuff. But if you're doing long-range precision fire, there's not a lot of room for error, and you have to really get a lot better quality. And one of the challenges is the display. It's like a little LCD TV display that's built into like a thermal device. That thing has to be like perfectly steady and not wiggling around on there. And that's one of the places where they're struggling. Also in the mounting systems, they have to all be repeatable. And when you're taking the device on and off, that's where the challenge comes in. Now, if you put a device on there and you zero it, it is now zeroed and it will work very well. But the challenge comes in repeatability. So I hope that explains in general kind of what you're looking for with if you're shopping for night vision, and that'll give you a better idea of what you would need to have.
Yeah, I love that Jimi Hendrix.
Guys, there's a freaking alien outside!
What? There's an alien out there? There's a freaking alien outside?
There's a freaking...
Really?
Yeah!
Where?
Look at
Yeah,
this
let's go see if there's an
freaking
alien out there. Where?
Look,
Where?
he's over there. a freaking alien. Right over here.
There's no way.
There's a freaking alien outside. Look at those alien tracks. There's freaking alien tracks all over the place.
Seriously?
This is serious business. I'm not shitting you. There's some freaking alien tracks.
Oh, dude, no, wait. There is something out there.
It's a freaking alien.
See that? I got my thermal here. Dude, what is that? Right there. It's straight out there. It's hiding behind that log. I can't see it very good.
Yeah, there's tracks.
Oh my gosh.
It's just an alien.
An alien? Chupacabra maybe or what? We probably better shoot it.
What is it?
Keep it out.
I don't know. What is it?
It's a freaking alien.
Did you see it look through the
I
window
saw
or
it.
what?
I freaking saw it. It's a huge freaking alien with a big white head. I'm not shitting you. Why are you laughing? This is serious. This is serious business. We could all die.
Can you like hold the flashlight from me so I can shoot this alien in the face?
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay.
Shoot the alien in the face.
Yeah.
I want that shit in my house.
Oh boy. Too much fun for one evening.
This is your alien hunter here?
Yeah, we'll take him out. I don't know what it is for sure. But
It's an alien.
you got any like drunk guys in your backyard or anything, do you?
If we do, they should look out.
Oh, there he is. Ready? What is it?
I can see the bullets like going down.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I think we got it.
Did we get it?
Did you shoot
I think it was actually a milk jug, Casey.
It was definitely an
It's a
alien.
milk jug.
I saw it with my own
Oh no.
eyes. I saw it. It was an